What do you got for me?
What's wrong with you people?
I got nothing for you.
What's wrong?
You're not David. How y'all feel this morning? I feel rotten. That's how I feel. Well, that was enough for me. We could have had the benediction right there. That was so good.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to The Reformatory, the podcast for the local church and by the local church, and we are your local churchmen. My name is Josh, and I'm here, as always, live in person with the man, the myth, and the legend, the captain, Jack Barry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this instead of watching it on YouTube, as you could be, you would see that Jack is actually here.
Yes.
He's in studio. He's
Yes.
in person.
Cosplaying as a lumberjack.
Yeah, 100%. That apparently
flannel on.
works for Tillamook Cheese.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so there's that. But Jack is here for our patron only smoke sesh, which when this gets released, it would have been last Friday, and we have great anticipation on that being super enjoyable. But Jack, good to see you, man. Welcome to the
dude.
Casa. Welcome to the in studio for the first time.
Yeah, it's fun, man. The drive up was lackluster because of Seattle traffic, trying to cross a bridge when everybody else, 3 other lanes of traffic are closed down. It's so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
But it's so nice. Like, it's so nice driving up here, like in the North Cascades area. There's like, you can see, like, obviously, like, I'm in Tacoma. I have Mount Rainier. Basically, I have a active volcano, like, outside of my back porch. But, like, you go up to the North Cascades, it gets a little bit more majestic, you could say, with the snow-capped mountains.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
For sure. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, I'm having to adjust volume here. If there is weird audio and things like that, it's because we're live. We're live in studio. Normally we're doing this over the internet by the power of the internet, but today, we're together, and it's always better. It's always better when you're together. Jack, you went to our local coffee shop, which also doubles as our pharmacy. Walking in there is a bit of a deal. It's a bit of it
threw me for a bit because at first I'm like, apothecary coffee. I'm like, is there drugs going on in this place?
100% there's drugs.
And there's legal
over the counter
prescription drugs being sold in that place. And then there's a little coffee stand right there.
Yep.
You can just hang out, and I was doing some work and trying to get some HVAC techs. So.
We like efficiency here in Skagit County. We pride ourselves on efficiency.
A twofer.
It's a 2-for-1, man. You can get your caffeine, get your morning coffee, and your
blood pressure medicine.
And your blood pressure medicine. And we like them in the same spot. Hey, we find it works. Okay, we like it. Yeah.
Talk about Russian roulette at that point.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, choose your poison, I guess, at that point, right? Just don't get them mixed up. Okay, just don't get them mixed up. True. Don't go to the wrong counter and order the wrong thing. But Jack, it's great to have you up here, man. We're going to talk about the local church stuff, as we always do. But before, and I'm interested to see how this is going to work live.
Oh, man.
But we have we're gonna continue on just like normal. Right, and that it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for all of your favorite segments. Don't forget to eat your Instagrams.
And now's the time you've all been waiting for. The Reformatory Podcast presents Don't Forget to Eat Your Instagrams with your hosts, Josh Loftus and Jack Barry. And remember, kids, it's not heresy if you believe it hard enough.
This is Don't Forget to Eat Your Instagrams. And remember, kids, it's not heresy if you believe it hard enough. That is how it works. Hopefully there's not too much of an echo going on with the volume stuff going on here. But again, we're going to soldier on. It's live. We're doing it live.
Doing it live.
That's what we're doing. Jack, I got some good ones here for you. Okay. Jack saw kind of what I titled some of these.
Some of the titles that I just had to laugh.
Yeah,
dude.
that's fair. We're going to start with a light one first. This one was sent to us. Might have been Patrick. Might have been a different listener. Again, I need to do better at remembering who sends us these stuff because we get a lot at once. But this one's rough on multiple reasons. So yeah, let's check this out.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. No, he still tries to hit cymbals. Wow.
Oh. Okay, here's the thing. Okay.
Don't stand
The
up.
Lord well, yes. Okay, so yes.
When you're drumming, don't stand up
let's-
in the cube.
let's address the obvious here, right? For those of you who are just listening, this was a video of they have a video. It's looks like a large church doing their music. They have a camera on the drummer behind the drumming cage, and through the crescendo of the song, he gets up and he starts jumping and hitting his cymbals, and then tries to sit back down and completely misses the stool and falls. You just see him like a tree. It's timber. He just falls over. The thing that's roughest for me is the vocals on this.
True.
God loves a joyful noise being made to him. But let's be real, not all joyful noise are created equal. Okay. They are all
So
joyful,
true.
right?
So
But
true.
if you are going to be the one that is leading the joyful noise coming
Yeah.
from the church, you should be joyful, but you should also probably be skilled. And these individuals, that was rough. That was little pitchy. Yeah, not quite my tempo, right? This one,
Deep cut whiplash
deep
cut.
cut. Yeah. Jack, I'm not going to preface this next one with anything.
All I see
We're
is
just-
the subtitle that Josh put on here, and this is going to be interesting, folks.
We're
Buckle
going
up.
for it. We're going for it right here. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Again, we're doing it live. My bad. It'd help if our listeners could hear it too. Here we go.
If you guys have had an encounter with God's word where it has changed your life. You used to be a hoe, but you ain't a hoe no more. There was a grandma that was like, that was me, sweetie. What? That was me. I had a past.
What?
Oh man.
Please don't do that. Whoever you are trying to do revival.
Here's the thing. Again, I did my time in 829, right? I've been in some weird church scenarios. I've heard a lot of sermons, a lot of bad sermons.
Wow.
Never in my life have I heard the phrase, "You used to be a hoe, but you ain't a hoe no more," uttered from the pulpit.
Wow.
Never happened.
Oh
That has
boy.
never happened to me at all.
Yeah. I would. I wouldn't do that.
No. There's no context in which that's happening in anything that Although now that I'm thinking about it, I am preaching on husbands loving their wives this week. I think I could work that in somehow.
No, please don't, Josh.
And maybe your
No,
husband
no,
will
no,
love
no,
you
no.
better if you. Yeah, no. Okay, no, it's not going to happen.
Oh boy.
Oh, good gracious. Jack, talking about husbands loving their wives and vice versa, wives loving their husbands. We're going to talk today about the importance of husbands and wives encouraging. I don't want to say allowing, because that sounds very very law based and not as if there's a healthy relationship there. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I would say encouraging mutually relationships with other men and women within the church. And what I mean by that is we were created for community. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the Reformatory. We were created to be part of a people, a redeemed people, right? That's how God has made us. And obviously and ultimately, we confess that the primary relationship that a man has within the church is his wife, right?
Sure.
And vice versa,
Yeah.
wife with her husband. However, we also confess that those are not the only relationships that a husband and a wife should have within the church.
Yeah.
And it's actually part of a very healthy local church culture, if you will, if there are opportunities encouraged and available for the men to hang out with friends and the women to hang out with friends. And that is something that's not only available, but encouraged. But what I have found, and this is especially true, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I found that this is especially needed within marriages that are that are pretty new, pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I think it's needed in all marriages, but I guess I would say it's needed to be emphasized more with men and women who have only been married in maybe a year, maybe a couple of years, right? Because again, it's obvious, right? When you're first married, like you want to spend all that time together. And that's a good thing. Like, praise the Lord for that. That's not bad, right? But I think what can end up happening is you get some married couples who, you know, are obviously committed to the church, right? We're not calling that out. They're there on Sundays, but they can be kind of insular when it comes to the rest of their relationships. And what I have found over my years of marriage and making a lot of mistakes is how important it is for me to encourage Lauren to have friends within the local church that she does things with, and vice versa.
Yeah.
She encourages me to, hey, Josh, like you need to schedule some time to get out with one of your guys.
Yeah.
Go do something, go golf, go smoke a cigar, go hang out, something that's not just, you know, work or particularly ministry related. The importance of fellowshipping. And I think that that's something that is important in the local church. It's easy to say, but I think that there's a lot of marriages, especially newer ones, that I don't think prioritize that mutual encouragement of community the way that they probably should. And I think there's some reasons for that, but I want to throw that over to you. And have you seen the same thing? You know, you were married in 2020, right? Which was a heck of a time to be part of a local church.
Oh my gosh.
Opportunities for community in 2020 in the state of Washington,
Dude, it was
difficult.
I specifically remember, I think one opportunity, I think it was before I got married. You were still living in Everett, I believe. And I think it was, what was it? We both met up at the old Mars Hill Church in Ballard in the parking lot. And
dude, I
smoked.
remember that. It was like cathartic and we
I was
brought
trying
lawn
to,
chairs.
I think it was because they sold the building.
They
to somebody
did.
else.
They sold it to, and I don't think it was another church. Well, it might have been, but yeah, I remember that. We pulled up with lawn chairs into the parking lot of the old Mark Driscoll Church. And we whipped out cigars and just smoked them.
And just tapped the ashes on the final
deal. It was
deal.
awesome, dude. I do remember that. Yeah.
So I can't remember if that was after. I think it was before I got married, to be quite honest.
No, it was. It was the summer before.
Yeah,
because you got married in December.
Okay,
we did it because I remember it being hot.
Yeah,
so it was like July or August, I think, of 2020.
Yeah.
Okay,
that makes sense. I mean, there's ways in which I think when you get married, you want to spend the time together and stuff like that.
But
as I have seen now, having a almost 3-year-old and about to have a fresh out the package daughter, well too, you need some time to basically get recharged from other people, from other different types of fellowship. And I think one reason I think you see this primarily in the local church through your men's and women's ministries.
Sure. Yep.
But I think also too, it's times in which, my wife is primarily with my son while I'm working upstairs in my office. And it takes a lot, no lie. Like my son, like as smiley and as happy and as joyfully as in person, he is sometimes a terror to deal with, and a terrorist to deal with. So sometimes, like my wife's like, "Hey, like, can I go, hang out with these gals this time?" Yeah, go ahead. I think I'm way more, and I've had this discussion with other men. Other men, it seems like the other way around. They have more cultivated relationships. And they are the ones who are like, hey, I want to play, this with these guys on this time. And it's like, and I've had, different people talk to me about those dynamics where they're hesitant to let their wives do that stuff. And they have multiple kids, but they can go out and do that. And I'm just like, I think I know I think for me, it's like I would rather have my wife go out and be more social and have, this is just me, but be more social and have more social interactions, and I can kind of take the brunt of that and kind of lose a little bit.
Sure.
Because I have a midweek time where I have a men's Bible study, and I basically get together with guys. We have our community group every week at our house on Wednesday as well too.
Yeah.
So there's ways in which that I think I'm okay. I mean, I record with Josh every week. I feel like that's somewhat of a sanity point as well too, versus my wife doesn't necessarily get that in person. And for me, it's more like I want her to get that fellowship. I want her to get that time with her friends, to get that time in which she's away where she doesn't have to worry about things. So yeah, I think part of it is that dynamic of understanding your wife and what your wife needs, or what your husband needs, and being okay with that.
Right.
I think too, it's just like right now we're in a weird situation in our culture right now as well too, where a lot of men have more mental health issues because they don't have friends.
Yeah.
So,
Isolation and depression among especially younger men.
I don't know what the figures are on women.
I don't know, but I know it's growing.
Yeah. I know men seem to have that target, and our men's ministry has been about like next week we're having like not only like we're going out to a Thunderbirds hockey game. It's either on Friday or Saturday.
Awesome.
And then that Monday, we're kicking off our men's ministry kind of throughout the quarter and like the quarters to come and what that kind of looks like. And so I've been a part of like planning those things as well too. And so part of it too is just like getting together with guys, like asking them how life is going, and making sure that they're doing all right. And I think that needs to happen not only in, if you're a husband in your life, but also that also needs to happen in your wife's life as well too. And being okay, like, hey, I'll take the kids, we'll do this day. Or we've had it in my community group where all the gals in our community group, which they're all but one, are moms, they'll go do something, and all the guys will hang out at one of our houses with the kids and do something. So there's ways in which like you can make this very easy and like not a heavy lift, but I can see how the preloaded dynamics of things could hinder that. But
well, I think look, anything worth doing is worth putting effort into, right? I think what we're talking about here is the importance of intentionality. I think if you were to ask the everyday, husband and wife in the church, right? Like, is having friends and community a good thing? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, of course. Right. I think most would confess that, but then are we actually putting steps to having a practical application of that belief? Right. And I think that's the hard part. And I think a lot of that comes down to personalities, right? I think you tend, like you said, I think it depends on the situation and the dynamic of the marriage and the personalities of the husband and wife. Sometimes, I know, there's marriages in our church where the wife is very much of an extrovert and has lots of friends, right? And is very intentional with, reaching out to those people every day and having that community and making that community for herself. It just comes naturally to her because she's an extrovert, right? Whereas the husband is much more of an introvert and needs to actually have more intentional, focused time to do those things, right? And again, like those personalities, they require different things, right? Obviously the extrovert by and large usually needs a little bit more of that time than the introvert does. But then there's, relationships in the church where it's the opposite, where, the husband is very much a go-getter and he has his friends, but because of just the husband working, the wife is at home with the kids. And being at home with the kids, it means that she has less time, less availability, and less opportunity to be able to have the community within the local church outside of the Lord's Day. So that's where it requires the husband to live with his wife in an understanding way. And again, it's just kind of like everything's fresh in my head because this is what I'm preaching on this week, right? And to understand my wife needs this. This is important. This should be a priority. So part of the way that I'm going to love her like Christ loved the church is to be self-sacrificial of my time and give her the opportunity to do those things that I know is going to benefit her, right? Because if we provide the space in our marriages to encourage those opportunities that are going to benefit our spouse, they are in turn going to benefit us.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying you have a selfish motivation for that, but when the husband and wife are getting what they need, ultimately, first from each other, but also from their brothers and sisters in the local church, it's going to make that marriage stronger, not weaker.
Yeah.
Right. What ends up happening is, I think you run into marriages that don't prioritize those things. So one of two things happen. They either kind of grow distant and grow apart, or they become, I would say, unhelpfully codependent, right? In that they're, either they don't see the need for having friendships, outside of their spouse, or don't feel like they can, because it would mean that they're being somehow uncaring and unintentional with their spouse. I know that's a motivation for a lot of people as well. If I'm spending time with people outside of my marriage, then that's time that I'm spending with, not spending with my wife, or not spending with my husband. And there's almost this weird like guilt complex that comes over the individual. And they feel like they can't do that because, I need to be focused on her. I need to be focused on him. Right. And again, like, yes, your primary focus is your spouse. Of course, we confess that and we talk about that. But I think we don't realize the good and the health that can come from having those relationships within the church that are for the purpose of fellowship, the purpose of encouragement, right? Conviction, all the things that the local church brings, and creating environments and a culture within our church and within our marriages of encouraging that and saying, hey, sweetie, I will take the kids this week, for this day. I want you to go hang out with so-and-so. I know you love it. And you're always encouraged when you do. I want you to have that. And we're going to make that a regular thing, right? Vice versa, right? The wife's telling the husband, hey, you have a free Saturday. Or here, let me help you make a free Saturday. Go play golf. Go smoke a cigar. Go get coffee. Go do something, work on the car with one of your friends. Something you enjoy doing, right? Yeah. And making time and space in your schedule for that, because I think I know it has benefited me. I know it has benefited my wife. And in turn, our marriage has benefited from it because we're not just looking to the other person for all of the encouragement that we need. Because marriage, like, that's not what the role of the husband or wife is for. Yeah. Again, it's primarily, yes. But we're not supposed to get all of the community that we need through our spouse, or all of the encouragement that we need through our spouse. Yeah. That you don't find that in scripture, right? Yeah. That's what the local church is for. So let's not lose the forest through the trees, right? And be so committed to our marriages that we become unfaithful to the relationships in the local church. That's a misnomer. Like those two things don't go together, right? The more healthy your marriage is, the more faithful you are going to find yourself in the local church, and vice versa. The more that you prioritize the people in the local church, you're going to see your marriage become even more and more healthy. You guys are going to grow closer together. So yeah, I think it's important, and find ways to do that. Jack, why do you think, and again, like we're talking primarily from the man's perspective here, right? Because neither of us have been a woman, believe it or not. Okay. I know it's 2026, but it hasn't happened. Why do you think it's so difficult for men to carve out time in their schedule specifically for the purpose of getting together with other guys for, let's just say, fun and fellowship?
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
I think it could be a combination of a couple things. I think one of them is maybe that guy is an introvert and he hasn't cultivated a lot of friendships.
Sure. Yeah.
And so to him, that looks very foreign. Or it could be a situation where he's just putting a lot of pressure on himself. And he's like, I'm going to provide, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that for my family. And he doesn't cultivate those relationships either. I think one of them could just be like, he hasn't found anybody that has the same hobbies.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines as well too. Which, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm not trying to say that that couldn't happen. But I feel like even in my local church, there are guys from every single dynamic and demographic.
Yeah.
And they all have a linkage to each other
sure,
somehow,
somewhere,
some way.
right?
Right.
Yeah, it's like 5 degrees to Kevin Bacon. Like,
Yeah.
it's like somewhere there's a connection here, right?
Like even if there's guys who don't watch, like maybe aren't the sports type.
Sure.
In the Pacific Northwest, there's a type of person who just doesn't like sports.
Yeah, sure.
Which is interesting because I know both of us grew up with sports in our life, and so it's just like, why not? But anyway, that's not like a disqualifier, and it shouldn't be. Like, there's ways in which you can fellowship with men in which you all don't have to have the same hobby.
Yeah.
And
Yep,
you can
absolutely.
find ways to fellowship with one another, enjoy each other's company. I mean, there's guys in my community group that primarily like don't like smoking cigars. And that's not really like a hindrance of me like leading my community group or fellowshipping with them or each other, like all of us like appreciating each other's company.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you can see it in those different dynamics, or just like, I think the husband could be, I spend all day at work. I should be the one who takes the kids, and my wife just needs the time alone.
Sure.
And then he doesn't prioritize some things on his own. I think those are some things
Yeah.
in why men wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's a reality where I think we have this unrealistic understanding of friendships, and that means that we're all going to like the same things and do the same things, and that's just not realistic. That's just not true, right?
Yeah.
It's actually not what biblical friendships look like in the local church, right? So, like, are we prioritizing friendship or looking for friendship based on superficial things or spiritual things, right? And if you are looking for a group of people that likes all the same things you like, have the same hobbies, they like the same food, all that stuff, and you're only going to consider people for friends that fit in those dynamics, one, that's just not realistic. And two, it just sounds like you want to just hang out with a bunch of people that are you, right? And that's not what the local church is. The local church is comprised of many different individuals with different backgrounds, right? In community together. That's part of the beauty and health that comes from it. So yeah, I think we shouldn't be prioritizing superficial things. We should be prioritizing spiritual things and what friendship looks like from a spiritual and I would say biblical understanding. And that has much less to do with the things that you're doing and why you're doing them. Right. I also think that we kind of live in a culture, and again, like it's kind of a clanging symbol at this point in the PNW, but I think we live in a culture that demands men be self-sufficient and not dependent on anything or anyone. And when we talk about prioritizing relationships in the local church because you need them, I think that automatically makes the hairs on some guy's neck stand up.
Yeah, the frontier kind of ethic that
Right.
we've talked about in the past before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that in some ways has some things to do with it too, is you have to we're not even starting at baseline. You know, we have to go back a couple steps, and even like we have to start with convincing the man that he needs community.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're not even to the point where we can encourage him to find it and how to find it. We need to convince him he needs it and it's good for him. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's not the culture that we live in. And that's not the culture that I think is propagated, especially when you look at some of the louder voices in our culture pushing masculinity. It's not a biblical masculinity, right? And the real, and the masculinity on TikTok and Instagram is not the masculinity of the Bible.
Yeah.
We see masculine friendships being very important and very prevalent in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And that's just not the culture we live in.
Yeah.
That's not the understanding of masculinity in the culture. And I think that has a lot to do with it too, is we have to break through that and realize, look, needing people, needing friendships, wanting those things, that's not unmasculine. That doesn't make you less of a man. It actually puts you very in line with scripture.
Yeah.
And what you need to be a faithful Christian within the world that we live in and in the local church, right? And again, when we prioritize those things, it helps our marriages because you are going to have that outlet to be able to bounce issues off of, right? Hey, I'm going through this and I responded this way and I don't know, did I respond correctly? Right. You have those men in the church be like, well, I think you were correct here and here, you were kind of off. That I wouldn't have said it that way. Right. And that's probably where your problem's coming from. We need that. Right. And if we don't have that, then we suffer spiritually and our marriages suffer spiritually. So I guess what I'm saying, Jack, is friendships in the church help marriages be biblical and healthy. And we should prioritize them because it's not antithetical toward a healthy marriage. Actually, it's a benefit, and it's something that produces healthy marriages within the local church. And I don't think that often people look at friendships within the local church through that lens.
Yeah, this is a deep cut and completely down a little rabbit trail, but I was listening to Joe Cocker, the what is it? I get by with a little help from my friends.
Oh yes.
So that song's that inside my mind, that song is playing while you're saying stuff about that. So it's just like you need help in your life. You can't and I think that goes back to a conversation we had before about surrender. That's a bad term to use, surrendering your life or submitting your life. When you submit your life to the local church, it involves all of that local church, not just you.
Right.
It involves all those men who are both your elders and your deacons and other leaders in the church. Mm-hmm. It involves your community group sometimes, if you have community groups, however way your local church is set up. But those men are there to encourage you.
Yes.
And to uplift you.
Yep.
Because there are going to be times, and boy, howdy, have I had some times in the last year where you feel like the world is collapsing on you and around you. And you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yep.
Can I just get some sanity from some people to talk to?
Yep.
And having those kinds of relationships in the local church grounds you and helps you in your walk with Christ and your Christian life. And so, just important stuff.
Absolutely.
If we don't have those things, I think there's going to be more issues rather than people thinking that, well, you're prioritizing your friends over me. It's not even like that.
Yeah.
You have to, I think it even goes, this is a longer discussion, but there's ways in which your kids need other people other than just you as parents too.
Yeah.
So that might be a hot take, but so there's ways in which they need other people in the local church that are just not their parents to help them out as well too, and get wisdom and opinions and whatnot. So
absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't know, that might carry over into a different episode.
It could. Yeah. No, you need the local church, right? You can't just isolate yourself even and justify it, sanctimoniously with your marriage, right? Again, there's good and biblical time and prioritizing time within your marriage. That should be your priority. Don't sacrifice your marriage on the altar of ministry or the altar of the local church. They're meant to work together. And the most healthy marriages are the ones that are invested in the local church.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And to quote a very eloquent wordsmith of our day, you used to be a hoe, but you ain't a hoe no more.
That totally threw me off.
I knew it would.
Wow.
Jack, why don't you get us out of here?
What a way to kick out an episode.
Why don't you get us out of here?
This was not our typical kid-friendly episodes of Kids Show or anything
don't
like that.
Say that.
It was
kids.
a little bit TV-14.
Don't say that.
A little bit TV-14 when they had I don't even know. Do they do the ratings anymore
on what TV?
On TV. On
Netflix?
I
feel like everything's. I think it's
everything's mature now.
Yeah,
though.
it's all TVMA. That's all it is. Unless it's on PBS, then they're like, well, we edited
Daniel
out,
Tiger, Daniel Tiger, baby.
Unless it's either Bluey or it's blood and sex and swearing. There's nothing in between anymore. Pick your poison, people. Pick your poison.
Well, as Josh said, if you appreciate our takes here on the Reformatory about the local church and about how fellowship is important outside of your marriage,
Yes.
and how friendships really help you to cultivate your marriage even more, if you want to follow us on the sociables, if you will, for more of our content, you can send us a direct message, comments, questions, concerns, episode ideas, anything along those lines. You can find us on the sociables in the way of the metaverse, the Facebook, if you will. The Instagram goes well with chocolate, marshmallows, sprinkle a little heresy on top of that.
Yes.
Or the always interesting sociable, formerly known as Twitter X, all at the tag at Reformatory Pod. Josh, you could tell the lovely people how they might support us further in our endeavors here.
That's right. Well, there's multiple ways you can do that. If you want to watch this episode as well as listen to it, head on over to YouTube and like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. It does make the Instagrams much more fun when you can see what's going on as well as listen.
True.
Yeah, especially the drummer today. Watching him fall over was quite nice. You can rate this podcast and review this podcast. Share this podcast with a friend. Maybe you've been a long-time listener and a zero-time reviewer. Hop over there. All right. If you're on Apple, it's super easy. Just scroll down, give us a little 5 stars for five solas, and write us a little review. We'd really appreciate that. Last but not least, we've got a Patreon. And again, like at the time of this recording, we're about to go into the smoke sesh. When you listen to this recording, it's already happened. So I'm sorry you missed your chance, but there's good news, right? Just like the rapture, you get a second chance. You missed the first one, right? You missed the first one. Things are going to be a little rough now. You're going to have to dodge, like
the
Kirk Cameron style.
tribulation.
The tribulation, right? You may get your head cut off. You might not. Nikolai Carpathia is going to implant that chip in everyone's heads. But like Kirk Cameron, you're going to dodge, bob and weave, right? Until the next smoke sesh that we will be having.
To the second coming.
And that's when it's we've had one rapture, yes. What about second rapture? All right, and but again, if you took the mark and you did not become part of the Patreon, no rapture for you. And yes, I just equated those who are listening but not part of our Patreon.
Wow,
as those that take the mark of the beast.
Okay, Josh.
In the dispensational understanding of the tribulation. Okay? But but if you choose to become part of the Patreon, the exclusive club of the Reformatory elect, which kind of defeats the purpose of choosing. But we're going to leave that here. We've already jumped the shark theologically. I'm not going to think about it too hard. $5 a month, people. That's all it is. Okay? That's less than a Starbucks. How much you pay for that Red Bull Spritzer today?
Oh, geez. Maybe, I think that was maybe over 5. Yeah. It had to be over 5.
Of course.
I think it was.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got a 16-ounce Red Bull Spritzer. It's a Red Bull can and a little flavor. Over $5. You know what's cheaper than that? Our Patreon. And you get the main episode early. You get 2 bonus episodes every single week. You get exclusive content straight to Patreon that doesn't go anywhere else. You get prioritization on new merch. You get to buy it first, and you get the exclusive link to the smoke sesh. Guys, it's a no-brainer. Don't take the mark of the beast and become a Patreon supporter of the Reformatory. That's all I got to say about that. If you choose to do so, our pledge to you is that your name shall be hallowed.
Hallowed, sir. Hallowed.
Hallowed through the halls of the podcast. That is our pledge to you. We thank you all for listening, and we will catch you on the next step of the Reformatory.